I am back. What it do, man? I just had to get turned into a Nuggets fan.
That just seemed like a blip on the Clippers' curse radar.
This was a death blow to the Clippers.
If a team were to never win a chip in their entire history, as a team, even with the best players ever, you would have the Los Angeles Clippers. A team so bad not even stars could save them. And here's their story. To start, we must go back to 1976, where they had one of the most talented big three ever with Moses Malone, Bob McAdoo, and Adrian Dantley. Now these guys right here were very talented, not to mention they had a great coach in Jack Ramsey. However, they fumbled the bag hard where in the same year they dismantled this roster. Well, you may be saying how or why. Well, firstly, they traded away Moses, Dantley, and McAdoo in separate trades. They fired Jack Ramsey and they were left with an aging all-star and role players. Yikes. And in the following season they would win 22 games. However, something else would happen next season. And no, it's not the signing of World Be Free, but the Braves changing their name to the San Diego Clippers, later changing it to Los Angeles. And as the San Diego Los Angeles Clippers, they would see little to no success at all. Their best season yet was the 1991 season, in which they had 45 wins before in the 1998 season they would finish with 9 wins. However, in the 2000s is when they would start to pick up the pace. From 0-5 the Clippers saw great talent come and go, though being Odom. Anyway, from 0-4 they saw a little success, but nothing big. Till 05 came, where they saw Chris Kaman and Elton Brand leading the team, and this team would go on to finally reach the second round in amazing fashion, before losing to Phoenix, and in the following season they lost to Phoenix again. Next season, however, is when they would discombobulate. In 2007 they would finish with 23 wins. But next season was even worse, finishing with 19, but the year they got 19 wins was when they drafted one of the most important players for the 2010s.
Let's go! Oh, what a month!
And to make it better, he was selected in the second RD. To make it better, nearing the end of the 2000s is when they would take another great player.
With the first pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Blake Griffin.
Hugs, kisses, a lot of love around. As expected, Blake Griffin, the all-galaxy, all-everything forward from the University of Oklahoma, goes #1. 4th straight year Big 12 player was selected in the top 2.
The glaze in the clip was crazy.
Realize Julian just got the wit of
To make it way better, in the following season, which was 2010, they finished with 32 wins. You may think it isn't a lot, but considering this team was led by a young Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, you gotta give him props. Now that was cool, but what was cooler was what happened in the 2011 lockout season. They finished with 40 wins and they added a superstar in Chris Paul. It looked like everything was coming together. Well, in these next few explanations, and soon you'll learn how they failed. Next season was their second best in the entirety of this team. They won 56 games and they managed to beat the Gasol-led Grizzlies before losing to the Spurs. After that season in 2014 they managed to pull off their best record with 57 wins. But they lost again in the second road, this time to the KD-led Thunder. And the same thing happened again in 2015 with the same record as the one in 2013, before losing in the second RD yet again, this time to the Harden-led Rockets. Now don't get me wrong, this team had a ton of star power and were clearly talented, but the Clippers curse, as it is referred to, due to the injuries, refrained them from ever making it out the second round. And this curse would follow them in the 2016 playoffs, where this time they lost in the first round. Then more tragedy would corrupt them, as in the next season CP3 would leave LA to go to Houston, then DeAndre, then Blake, and in the 2018 season all they had was Lou Williams and some role players. But this year was an underrated one. But Lou doesn't play, and so with a couple of help from some role players they managed to pull through and get a 48-win record. This team somehow managed to beat the 2018 Warriors in a regular season game, but they weren't good enough to reach the playoffs. Still a great year for them, but not as great as what would happen in 2019. The Clips felt great after this deal, but what happened to this team? Well, to start, in the 2019 season they had 49 wins, which was great. Till we reached the playoffs, and that was a different story. You see, in the bubble the Clips played a great game against Dallas, winning in 6, before one of the worst games from PG happened. You see, Paul George against the Nuggets was ugly, and it was a terrible loss for them. Were they outplayed? Certainly. There was simply no excuse for PG, and for Corey, well, he was good. And in the following season, 2021, they were actually phenomenal, reaching the conference finals before losing to the Booker-led Phoenix Suns. Then next season approached, and they had a 42-win record before losing in the first round. The Clippers' curse strikes again. Next season would be the same, losing in the first round again to the Suns, this time with KD and Book leading the team. And then the same would happen this time, losing to Dallas. And what happened recently? Well, Paul George left the Clippers to go to Philly, which would be one of the worst things to happen to LA. You see, trading for Paul George wasn't easy, as they traded multiple picks, and Shai, who at the time wasn't that good before he transformed to a star. And that brings an end to the Kawhi PG era and a close to the worst team in California. A team of failures and curses.
That's a bad shot.